Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to put these casts, and I've just weighed them, there's over 250 in there, into what I call the Gattling magazine, because it looks like a Gattling gun and it's fun to run around chasing your grandkids with it, pretending. But anyway, I've done a modification to the first one I made. I've actually put this top on. What this top does, it does two things. First of all, it keeps the reduction tubes, these are reduced down to 9mm. When you get the Gattling gun, if you just buy the Gattling gun as is, it's supplied to take 45 ACP and 50mm Smith & Wesson large caliber into there. And then if you want to shoot small or size smaller stuff, you just drop in a tube. And what that tube does is it reduces it to the particular diameter you want. There is also another reducer that drops in there that will drop it down. That's 9mm there. It does 38s, 40s, and that kind of stuff. And there's another one that will drop in, and what that does is that simply turns it to 32, 223, 224 and small bore caliber. Or if you've got any weird and wonderful ones that you load that some other people don't have, just make yourself a set of inserts, and then this fits on the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill these inserts nose first until all of the tubes are done. It's going to take me about 6 minutes, so I'll be back in about 6.5 minutes. All done and loaded. We now have just under 250 9mm hollow point out of the MP mold loaded into what we call the Gattling magazine. So all we do is we take the top, stick it back on, put the little wing nut on the top, lift it up slightly, and we take it over to the mounting plate. The mounting plate that is now bolted on the top of the AS2 sizer. Slide it in all the way through, and we use a little pin here. I don't use it very often because I found it's pretty stable, but that stops it from moving in and out. Okay, dies 358, come down, drop our 358 die in the bottom, put our little catch bucket underneath it, turn so the first tube goes over the drop hole, like so. They've dropped down the tube, first one is fed into the actual slide mechanism, and all we do is size and they drop into the bucket. But wait, doesn't that now mean that I've got to take these back out of the bucket, then grab hold of the sizing thing, the Gattling magazine, and then refill them before I take them over here, base down, to feed down the tube into the bullet sight? That seemed like a bit stupid to me. So what I did was, let me just put these four, they've been sized so it doesn't matter, just put these four back in the top, put the top back on. It will operate without the top, but we'll just put it back on just for aesthetic's sake. So I thought, well, that's a bit stupid, having to take it back out of the container just to refill the magazine. And this is what Redwood on the Cast Bullet forums was trying to interrogate me about when I said I found a reason to drill holes in the AS2. What I've done is I've drilled a hole underneath here, and under the table, look, I've mounted another plate with a second Gattling case upside down. So now all I do is I drop a tube in the hole, put the die in, back in, nice and tight. The tube slides up over the end of the die, like so. We slide this Gattling one forward, line it up, and now let's try that again. Size a couple, and they fill that tube up. Whoops, where's the camera? There. So what we do now is we just grab hold of the Gattling case and we turn it till they drop in the bottom. Excellent. Let's size this line. The last four were easy because they had already been resized before. Okay, so now we move to the next step. Turn this, drops in the next load, turn this to the next one, wait until a couple drop in there. Look at that. Let's go. All gone. So we've now sized about 60 bullets. Let's pretend, there you go, 2 empty up here, 2 full here. Now let's just pretend I just turned the hole so it's no, whoops, the camera's off to one side, turned the hole so it's not lined up, which means I can now turn this round the right way. These bullets now are all base down, which just so happens to be the correct orientation for when we take it over here to the bullet feeding Lee feeder that I converted to fit on the Dillon press. We take this up here and we will slide it into this base, a bit awkward single-handed, like so. That's it. We now turn it over the first hole and voila, we're fed with obviously it's not full, but 250 rounds of ammunition are ready to find their new home. See that little spring just there? Let me see if I can, that little spring there, that spring is actually supporting the fingers on the leaf feeder and holding them a little bit closer together, because the actual, let me pull one out, bring it down and have a look at it. It wasn't quite strong enough to keep control of the bullet, so all I did was drilled a couple of small holes, one in the end of this finger, one in the end of that finger, and got a normal spring, straightened 2 legs, leaving a couple of coils to actually act as a spring, and that puts just enough pressure to squeeze the bullet fingers close enough together to hold that cast quite securely. And I won't load any at the moment, but basically as you go forwards, it goes forwards, disappears under and loads into a case, and that's it. So we have gone from raw cast to coating. Those out there now are nice and dry. They'll come into a container and get ready to be baked. We then manually filled this particular Gattling GM unit we sneakily hid another one underneath, hid a plate underneath, so as they come down here nose first and drop through, with this being upside down, they've dropped in nose first to the bottom, which is why I made these tops. I didn't initially have these tops on there, because the tubes sit there quite nice and neatly, but I thought if I'm going to turn them upside down, just putting a cap on the end will hold them nice and neatly. So once you've loaded them into there and sized them, they drop through. You take the GM out, slide it into excuse me, slide it into the other base and just feed into your die. Now if you're using an RCB die, bullet feeding die, or I've got the El Cheapo Lee bullet feeder with the fingers, doesn't matter which way, you can feed 250. So from coating to filling the GM up, sizing, putting it on this machine, doing it, drops it out, and then all you end up with is boxes and boxes and boxes of loaded rounds. So ladies and gentlemen, and anything else I might have missed in that statement, that's how I do it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if I rambled on a bit, but that basically is how I do it. Be good, be safe, subscribe, leave any questions if you have any, and I'll catch you on the next one.